Rukus Avenue Radio.
Hello, I am Jesse Kalsi, and you are listening to me on Rukus Avenue Radio.
Hello, Rukus Avenue Radio listeners. This is your correspondent, Dr. Priyadarshini G. I have the honor of speaking with renowned numerologist and acclaimed author, Jesse Kalsi. Jesse G., welcome to the show.
Oh, absolutely. It's great to be here, Priya.
It's always a blast speaking with you, and I'm so honored to be able to interview you today after we have met last year. So I'm going to go straight into your bio. Jesse is a world-renowned numerologist. He specializes in residential and business numerology and provides valuable insight on the power of numbers and how they affect our lives. In his books, The Power of Home Numbers and All About Numbers, he combines his Eastern upbringing with his Western experience to bring awareness and understanding of this phenomenon. Over the past 20 years, Jesse has consulted thousands of people and affected their lives positively. His clients include prominent business people and extremely successful communication and entertainment companies. Jesse has appeared on many radio and television shows in the United States, and his unique perspective on numerology has amazed his audiences. A successful real estate broker by trade, Jesse is also a certified Federal Aviation Administration flight instructor and holds a commercial pilot's license. He received his bachelor's degree in India and holds an LLM in International Legal Studies from Golden Gate University in San Francisco, California. Jesse graduated from the National Defense Academy of India and pursued advanced studies at the Indian Military Academy. He served as a captain in the 1st Battalion, 3rd Gurkha Rifles, formerly called the Queen Zone. Intending to devote his life to military affairs, Jesse left the army when he was informed of his true life purposes while posted at the Jammu Kashmir frontier. He originally came to the US to learn to fly, but eventually returned here to make his home in California with his family. Jesse G., first and foremost, thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You have a unique background from being a captain to a pilot, legal studies, real estate broker, to now being a renowned numerologist and author. So please tell us about your journey.
Oh, absolutely. So as you've mentioned, my background is the Indian military, and I come from a family of armed forces personnel. My father was a wing commander in the Indian Air Force, and then my brother, who runs a very successful academy in Delhi today, was also from the armed forces. He also came from the National Defense Academy. And, I believe a lot in karma and time, and I guess this has been my life experience, and that's why I say that so strongly. Young, I remember, I'll give you one example. After I came out of the National Defense Academy, and then we, of course, came to the Indian Military Academy to finally come out and get commissioned. We used to, your trained cadets are trained at the rifle ranges, right? For rifle training and things like that. And very interestingly, at that time, I would always attract a rifle number 27, right? Which kind of stuck to my, my subconscious mind, right? Very strangely. And each time I got that weapon, that 27, my scores would be very high on the rifle ranges, right? But then as the weapons changed, with night firing and different sorts of, training with those weapons, right? My score would change. I mean, as if something was kind of nudging me and telling me that there's something about these numbers. But, when you're so young, you don't care about these things, They don't matter to you. And then with time, I got commissioned in an elite Gurkha battalion, the 1st Battalion, the 3rd Gurkha Rifles. It's one of the finest battalions of the Indian Army, and my battalion I think it's the only unit in the Indian Army that took part in the first amphibious operation in 1971 in Bangladesh. So right from Calcutta into Dhaka, I remember. Well, I wasn't a part of the Pelton then, but it happened much earlier. So I'm very proud to report that I come from a very, very, very prominent and an excellent fighting unit. So, but then what happened with time, as years passed, and I'll be honest with you, as the political situation in India started changing, right, and then my inclination to looking at different options, and then at the same time, my intuition, my karma, my destiny, right? It suddenly flipped, and then then I requested my commanding officer. I said, you know what, I need to, be doing something else. So he was in wonderment. He wondered I had a good record of service. I had served as a ADC to a general in the desert. I was a instructor in the commando wing, right? And the elite commando wing. I remember the last chief, well, I won't name his name. We were all together at one point. So he said, "Why would you do that? You got a good record of service, and everything looks good." But I guess sometimes your karma, your destiny, just God's plan. You can say it's God's plan, right? Well,
Yeah.
I had to be out, and it did happen. By the way, it's not easy to come out of the Indian Army, right? If with a permanent commission, right? It's not easy at all. But in my case, it absolutely happened really easily, and my sights were stuck here to come to America. And with my military background, all that I thought was maybe I'll go learn to fly, right, and set up a flight school. So that's how I looked at America, right? And and that's exactly what happened. Well, I can say I'm very good at manifesting things. Now when I look back, and I do realize that whatever I wanted, God gave it to me. So I ended up in Meacham, Fort Worth in Texas, with whatever money I had. And I remember I scrounged and scrounged and scrounged, right? And I got my commercial pilot's rating. And then from there, all money was finished, right? So what do I do now? And then it was then that again, something kept telling me, you need to head to California. You need to head to California. And then I just followed my gut, right? Which is what I do today. It's my intuition. I ended up in Yuba City, and then from there I met some people, and I still did not know what to do with myself. But then with time, because I could speak the language a little bit, I got many people called me, and I met an attorney in San Francisco. She's no more. She's a white gal. She used to, she took my help to be an interpreter in the courts in the city, right? And so that's how it just kept going. And then I was so keen to complete my CFI, which I did here at Hayward Airport. And then I got to like most CFIs do, as you already know, right? Fly for 4 or 5 hours every day, which I did for a couple of years. But then again, that shifted too with time, and I thought maybe now I need to upgrade myself, right? And that upgrading came in the form of my real estate license, and then I became a real estate broker, and then on and on. So that's how it went. But I was, to be honest with you, I was always fascinated by numbers. At that point, I did not have much knowledge, but I can tell you one thing: my knowledge of numbers, right? I had basic initially when I came here, but with time, it's been so helpful.
Mm.
I'm telling you, this little gift that God gave me, right, was so helpful. Was so helpful, navigating your path all alone, right? And suddenly, when people realize that He has a gift, right, He can help us with something which slowly started happening, and smaller to bigger to bigger to bigger, right? And that has been a blessing for me. I'm so grateful that God gave me this information, and I can tell you, I've been brokering for many years, but every single time, right, I've sold numerous properties here in the Bay Area over the years, right? But people, will always come to me, and with everything else, they would just sit down and ask for their numbers, right? So that never ended, but it's been very, very helpful for me in my life journey. It's been tremendously helpful. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I loved hearing about your whole journey. Like we said, you have a very diverse repertoire and a very unique background. And it always led back to numbers, regardless of what career path that you chose to take. It always came back to numerology. So, what inspired your journey to become a numerologist and then to take that one step further and put your knowledge into published work as an author?
Yeah. So what happened was, I remember it was in the late 90s, right? And I was kind of, my office here in Fremont, California, was kind of going up and down. Again, I was feeling that someone's kind of talking to me again, like they always do. Those messages keep coming all the time. So I said, I've been here for like 10 years, and I had these huge dreams, and I'm just, I own this brokerage. Life was not enough for me at the time. I was making a few pennies too, but I said, no, I didn't come here for this. I came here for something bigger, right? Something bigger. And then what happened one day? I had this one lady that she used to run some ads for me here, and so that was later. But she didn't know me at that point. She came to see me, and she was from the islands, and so I did a reading for her, and she was a little upset. So I said, what happened? She said, oh, I've come to see you, and I married this one guy. He wears a turban like you, and my life has been this. So he's such a hard life he's given me and all that, right? I just kept listening to her. So as she left, it's very interesting. So as she left, she paid me the money, and then she goes to her car, and then from her car she calls a radio station, and that was Bonnie Colleen. Bonnie Colleen ran a very successful Sing Beyond in San Francisco. And so she tells Bonnie, right, that this guy, I just met this guy, right, and he knows something about numbers, and you should have him as a guest on your radio station. So isn't that very weird, right? Someone comes and has a certain behavior and steps out and opens a door for you.
Exactly.
That's what happened. And then Bonnie called me later, and then we chatted. And so she says, we did a pre-interview. And so I told her whatever little I know. She said, Jesse, why don't you come on so day to the station in San Francisco, and we'll talk numbers and all that. And so I said, okay, I'll come, right? But I had never been on a station before, right? And so when I got to the radio station, we all sat down, and she'd finished one segment and she put me on. So she, you ready? I said, I'm ready. So I thought she's going to ask me some simple questions, right? With this number and that number, right? But it was not that. So she announced my name and said, hey, Jesse Kalsi is here. He's a numerologist. And guys, get ready with your questions. He put me on the hot seat, right? And I got a little nervous, right? So I said, oh my God, morning traffic time, San Francisco, right? The whole world is listening, right?
Listening.
Yeah, she put me on a spot, right? And so what happened, I remember the first call was this one lady, she's from England. I got her British accent, right? And they were all, and it was so weird. I said, everybody was waiting to ask me a question, right? And so her first question was, say, Jesse, I'm so, and I'm. So I said, where do you live? She said, I just come from England, and I said, so date of birth and what's your apartment number? So she said, the apartment number is 16 or something, and our date of birth and all. So I instantly responded. I said, okay, let me tell you something. I said, you have some issues, from your waist downwards, right, from your second chakra downwards to your feet. She says, oh my God, this is so true. So what did he say? What is so true? She says, oh, I have to fly back to London tomorrow because I have to, undergo some medical procedure. There's some lady issues, right? Something like that. Right. And that was that. And so like, I hit the nail on the head, right? And it was soon after that, I felt as if, the universe opened all the doors. They said, what, now you can go through this door, right? And that was it. And then I got a little confident, and the second call came, the third call came, and then the stations just kept coming and coming, right? I think, I can happily report today, I think I've been over 1,000 stations and outlets, the last maybe 20, 22 years, here in the United States, right? And
congratulations. And it's so wonderful to hear like your journey, but then how you mentioned the universe opened its doors. Sometimes we keep wondering what's next, like how you were talking about, you felt like you were meant for something bigger, that what the jobs that you were doing, they were great and you were, good at them, but it wasn't your purpose. And I think finally when you found your purpose, the universe met you halfway and decided to open all those doors for you. So I loved hearing that. And that started your journey as a numerologist, correct? That's how you became the popular Jesse Kalsi that we know today. And what led to you wanting to publish your work and your knowledge into a book and become an author?
Okay. So, as a real estate broker, right? And then this information started coming from all clients, and people started coming to me, hearing me on the radio and then saying he's a real estate broker, right? So they come to me and then say, then I should kind of screen the MLS and me and my staff, and I look at the date of birth and, show properties. But then I would always make sure that the energy matched their date of birth. So, whatever little I know.
Wow. Okay.
So I did that. So that was an advantage for me because I was better than my competition, right? So in a short period of time, I closed more than a couple of 100 escrows. It's like,
wow,
but he ran to me. And then what happened? But the beauty is, I'm so grateful to God that everything that went through me and my hands for numbers and numerology and buying real estate and selling properties, right? All my clients, they've all made huge equities. They all made huge, huge equities. I mean, here all over the Bay Area now, and people still call me, right? They'll insist, that you go. But now I don't really go in, because I don't want to intermingle the two, right? I mean, I don't want anyone to say, oh, he's taking all our clients away, and how it is, how people are.
You're right.
So I kind of refrain a little bit, though I still have my brokerage and I have some people work for me, but I don't mix the two anymore. I have realtors who call me often, they can't sell properties or they get stuck and then they ask why, which I do happily. But yes, so that's how it went. And so then as the information kept coming, with all these clients, I kept compiling it all. I thought it would be a good idea to kind of put it in a book, right, for the world to understand. And so that's how the first book was born, The Power of Home Numbers. And that book's been, it evolved now in its fourth edition. It changed once, twice, third time, the fourth time. Now it's going to stay now the way it is. And it just got published in French a couple of weeks ago. And the Spanish edition should come this week. So it's going to go into about, God willing, about 10 plus languages, as time goes. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's amazing. And I do have a copy of your second book, which is all about numbers. And I wanted to ask you, how important are numbers to one's life path?
Numbers are very, very important. Very, very important. And, we always have to pay a lot of attention to it. See, what happens is, we all have a date of birth, and that's how we look at numbers, right? And the cycle keeps changing each time from our date of birth. That's how I do these numbers, right? And so it is very important to know your numbers, right? And once you know your basic numbers, that is based on your date of birth, and then you can kind of fine tune the energy around it, right? Then you should know, oh, maybe this person is not good to date, or this house go to live. Because it's serious stuff,
Right.
I'll tell you, this morning I had this one gal, right? Quickly, I'll tell you, this one gal, she's a very pretty girl, right? She's in Delhi and all, and she met this guy, and a very wealthy man, and some numerologist told her, hey, listen, this guy is good for you, blah, blah, blah. And right this morning, she called me from nowhere. She said, please talk to me, I pay you. I said, I'm busy today. But then she sent me a note. So she was all ready to get married to this one guy, a very rich guy, and he pulled the plug on her on the last minute. Right. So why? They looked at the numbers were not, that energy was not there.
Compatible. Mm-hmm.
Compatibility, right? So it is very important to understand. I'll say this more to the younger people, right? Because I deal with so many of these young, more women than men, actually, right? Mm-hmm. To understand and don't waste your time, know your numbers and know their energy, and things like that. Very, very crucial, right? And then with that comes, different colors and gems. And then also what is very important is your inner frequency, your chakra energy, right? There are ways to fine tune that energy. You have to, there are many ways to do that. I'm sure, you are very knowledgeable too. But those energies are very important to kind of, constantly keep your vibe high, keep your vibe high so you attract the right frequency, right? So, the books out on, there's so much information out on the law of attraction and things like that. But I can tell you one thing, if your energy is not balanced numerologically, right, the law of attraction ain't going to work for you. I'm telling you right now.
Right. Yeah.
I
think a lot of people, what they do is they expect the external to fulfill them versus you have to be what your expectations are, right? So whether it is how you're stating, knowing what your own number is, knowing what your own vibration is, knowing yourself first and foremost.
Exactly.
And then exuding that energy, being in that energy, and then letting the universe kind of take its course, just like how you did with your career. So I think that self-awareness is what numerology kind of brings. So now we always hear online that there's a difference between your date of birth and then the culmination of your life path number, which is the total number of your month, day of birth, and the year that you were born. What matters more? Because you spoke about the actual day. For example, I'm January 3rd. So my number would be 3. If someone who is born on December 2nd, their number would be 2. So what is more important, that date of birth or the culmination or accumulation of the sum total of your birthday?
Got it. So I think the date of birth is more important. And then just behind it is the life path number. I think they both kind of come very close, right? See, in your case, like you mentioned, January the 3rd now. See, January the 3rd, interestingly, I'm April the 3rd, by the way, right?
Okay.
But I can tell you something, 3 is a gradual climb, Now you're very young now, but with time you're going to go rise, rise, rise. But then see, I am ruled by Mars and you're ruled by Saturn, right? Because you're a Capricorn. But
Yes.
that's very powerful too. See, most Saturn energies, a little slow initially, you're still finding the right people, but they'll
Yeah.
come. But where you're looking, you need to look even higher. Sometimes you look here, right? But you
Yeah.
need to look higher. So that's why I feel about you. But basically Jupiter energy and Saturn that rules you is very powerful. It's very, very powerful. Basic things like, I'll tell you what. So say if you wear turquoise.
Mm-hmm.
Turquoise will be very good for you. If you wear let me see, amethyst, or keep
Mm-hmm.
an amethyst crystal on your desk, because amethyst is going to go straight to the crown chakra. What rules you is Saturn. Now, Saturn is what? Saturn is the third eye right here, right? That the color of the third eye is indigo blue, right? So lapis is a very good stone for you too. So these gemstones can be around you, right? Or you can wear something like a lapis and a lapis turquoise kind of bracelet, you know. And by the way, I wear that too. I've worn that for many, many. It just came to me many years ago. It's very lucky for me. I always keep it on all the time.
Wow.
So something like that, and then you don't have to mix too much energies. You have to just stay with your basic frequency, right, and just keep going. But then at the same time, constantly clearing your energy is very important too. There's a way
Yes.
to clear your vibes, kind of cut the cards. The everything around us is so evolved, right? I mean, as we
Yes.
speak now, I'm sure there are other energies and other beings that are listening to everything that we are exchanging, right? And I believe in that, and I always believe in that. That the higher forces, that different energies are there around us all the time, and all the time. Yeah.
I love that. So let's do a quick little intro to numbers for our audiences where you can share a little snippet of each of the numbers leading up to 1 through 9. So we talked about how important they are, and we're going to speak to the date of birth. So we're going to go through 1 through 9. And just to clarify for our audiences, say that you are born on the 16th, 6 + 1 = 7. So your number would be 7, and so on and so forth. So you can do the math. And then Jesse G is going to go through a little bit of a sneak peek of what it is like to be in that number's energy. And maybe just as if you can tell us what's a compatible number that they should be looking for, whether that is in their home, business, or partnerships. So
Oh,
let's start with the
absolutely.
number 1.
Okay, yeah. So basic numerology, the Vedic tradition. That's what I practice. Is it's associated with planets and numbers that kind of work together. So 1 to 9. So number 1 is the energy of sun. The sun is kind of male, strong energy, right? And it is very. I mean, if you have a strong sun, right, your life will be successful. You'll be famous. You'll be known around, right? And sun is. And the shades of sun is like 1, 10, 19, 28, and all those numbers that follow 37, right? But there's one sun number which is very powerful that I like to highlight is the number 28, right? So now why 28? Because see, 28 has 2 moon and 8 Saturn energy. Very powerful. This number comes with big people. Bill Gates has it, and many famous people have this number. But this energy or 28, I can tell you something. These people are cheaters. I don't hesitate to say that, because that's what I've seen, right? They always try to, the relationships with this energy, right, is always kind of up and down. They'll always try to fool their partners, right? But they're very successful. They're very
Right.
successful. Yeah. So that is how this energy comes. They're very successful. Then the number 37 by itself is very powerful. Number 19, I've seen number 19. Many celebrities have that strong in number 19, right? And there are many that and I know have carried that energy. But then this energy of 19, right, they're very obstinate. They're very sometimes there's just their way only, right? And many times their partners get so frustrated with them, or there's they just kind of frustrate people to such a point, right, that they want to throw a brick on their heads, right? So it's like that. And this happens to them all this. Suddenly in their lives there'll be this huge event, right, when something very heavy hits them, right? A brick really hits them. So it's like that. But then the other vibrations too, the number 46, right? Excuse me. 46 is again tricky. On 46 on home is not good. It'll bring in relationship challenges, weird challenges, excuse me.
Okay, no problem. And so you were speaking about number 1. What are some pros and cons for that number?
So it's
Good qualities and
what number
negative
to have.
qualities.
It's a strong number. It'll take you through life, ups and downs. It'll just take you through life. It bulldoze your way through life. It's a strong number.
All right. And what do ones have to be careful of, or what signs are they compatible or not compatible with?
Yeah, ones should be very happy. A one date of birth should stay more with ones only, because ones and ones are very happy together. Ones also happy with number 2s, but ones and 8s kind of you should be cautious. Ones and 3s also, like 2 captains on one ship. One comes with number 6 again, collide with Sun and Venus, are not very happy together. When one comes with 9, or 1 is Sun and 9 is Mars, they're both warm and hot, right? And they kind of very happy together. They pull, but then they'll explode, right? 1 with 5s is interesting, but it depends how it comes. If on a home number, say 1, it's a 15, it might work on your date of birth. But if it is a 51, it's different, because 5 preceding 1 is like area 51, right? What happens there,
Right.
it's heavy. So it's like that. So there are many combinations, but overall, the energy of one's sun is strong. 1 is also very happy with moon, right? Sun and moon, yin yang energy also works quite well.
All right. So
one last one here. I'm sorry, I missed this very important one.
Yes,
one
go ahead.
Is happiest with number 4.
Okay. All right. So number 1s, explain to us why.
Number 4. So what happens is Sun and 4 is Uranus. They're mirror images, right? They support each other tremendously, And I've known these couple of these Hollywood actresses that I know, and too, right? And then I was trying to explain this to them. They were kind of surprised. I mean, a career that was so humongous and huge, right? And how they got a break, and why it happened was very interesting, just looking at the names of those people, that one, and how they connected to the 4 on those names, right? Opened so many doors. So yeah,
ones and 4s.
Ones and 4s, yeah. But I would say one should not live in a house number 4, but one should be we will find a lot of success working with people who have 4 date of births, or whose name numbers add up to number 4s. Yeah.
Okay, interesting to know. All right, let's move on to number 2.
So now number 2 has moon energy, right? So moon is feminine. Moon is kind of interesting. So 2, 20, 29, and then maybe some shade of 38, and those energy as you move forward, right? Moon is on a home number. I'm not very high. I don't like moon on a home number, like apartment number 2, or and apartment number 38, things like that. Moon's great for it's imagination, right? It's creativity. Moon is all the filming business and all that comes with this moon energy, right? But see, now a lot of people have seen the master number 11, right? I've seen many intuitors, right? They'll tell their clients, hey, house number 11 is a master number. I mean, they have no idea what they're telling those people, right? See, 11 on a house number never works. It'll only bring 11 will bring in money and relationship challenges. And I've seen so many people, right? Young people with kids, right? Oh, I consulted so-and-so is a master number, right? Push them in there. Or I've known somebody here in LA, this gal, right? She's consulting people in Seattle saying, put a number 2 on your bedroom door so you'll have good relationship. Doesn't work like that, right? So 2 is one number which doesn't really, it's 2, 1 plus 1, 2, but it's not very happy on relationships. So it's very important that 2 has to be balanced with more sun energy, but 2 is really happy with the number 7, though. What 7 is, Neptune's all the water of the world, right? So moon and water, how the moon goes high and the ocean starts dancing, right? So it's like that. So the 2 and the 7 works best. So if you look at Mr. Bachchan's energy, right? Excuse me, Mr. Bachchan, pretty much 11th of October, right? His name is balanced like that. His name, Amitabh Bachchan, right, has that energy of 18 and 16, which is, if you add it across, it's 34, right? 34 and 11 on there, it matches completely, is in complete sync, right? And then, but I'll quickly say that his first name is very heavy. It's got heavy Mars energy, and that's why his body gets hit all the time. But then 2 and 7 are very good. So if that's your date of birth, or a house number, I have this one client in LA, and she's very up with a lot of celebrities there. I've known her for a long time, and she consulted me one time for her apartment. She's not doing very well at that time, so we found her a number. She's a December 2nd, and found her a number 34. And ever since, she's been so successful. The first book came out, and so that is how powerful it is. So I said number 2, and find a house number 734 partner. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So 2 and 7. Okay. So now moving on to number 3. You spoke a little bit about me, but in general, what's number 3? What are they supposed to expect?
Yeah, number 3, like, it's interesting. You and me are both number 3s, right? And 3s kind of have a gradual climb up. They keep going up and up. Well, 3 is Jupiter energy, and Jupiter is the largest planet. And 3 has a lot to do with our, a crown chakra, So as I mentioned earlier, right? 3 is the crown. So amethyst energy around you is very powerful. You can use that. Um, 3s are kind of pretty sincere, they won't they won't lie or trick you or anything, and they're pretty straightforward people, right? And they don't like liars either. They don't stand people who try to trick them or cheat them. They don't like them at all. And but they're very giving, they'll always give. They'll always take care of their parents, and they are kind of very attached in many ways. But sometimes the parents will push them away, but they're always very kind of close with their parents. Overall, they're successful. Their lives are bigger. The big lives. With time they grow and get bigger. So 3, 6, 9 compatibility is there, and then number 3, I'd say. See, now number 4 doesn't work well with number 3 when 3s and 1s come together, right? So what happens is, because 1 is Sun and 3 is Jupiter, and Jupiter is the largest planet, right? So it's like having 2 captains on one ship. They'll bump heads all the time. 1s and 3s. So it's 1s and 3s in a relationship. What will happen is, and if they kind of spin off, right? See, the number 1 won't care. They just go, there's someone else I like, right? But the number 3 going to keep sulking, right? So, I did that thing. This guy, and I did this and I that, right? No, and and that's what it is. They don't like to be cheated, right? But that's one example I like to give you. And then 3s, 9s compatible, 3, 6, 3s and 7s sometimes don't get along that well. 3s and 8s, Jupiter and Saturn, sometimes 3 and 8 can kind of hold quite well, like a number 38, right? It holds quite well. And so those are some shades of number 3. I've seen number 3s outside financial institutions, banks, and many places, So, but it's, yes, definitely 3 is definitely a powerful number. Absolutely.
Awesome. And you mentioned 3s and 9s as well, because you
Yeah,
said
3
3,
to
6,
9 are
9.
compatible. So Jupiter and Mars, which is number 9, are always kind of happy together, which means that Jupiter is, you can wear a yellow sapphire for a strong Jupiter, and Mars is a red coral. So if you'll see many celebrities, and I won't take any names, but you'll see them wearing a yellow sapphire and a red coral,
Right.
and basically amplifies that energy many times. It just brings great luck.
Great. All right. So moving on to number 4.
Okay, so number 4 is Uranus energy, and Uranus is unpredictable, right? Uranus energy is unpredictable. It's like I said earlier, the 1s and 4s are a great combination. Even 2s and 4s kind of get along pretty well. 4s, these people are very unconventional. They're different. They are sometimes they are lonely too. They're always searching. It's like they can get they always do, actually. They from point A to point B. If most people take the beaten track, they'll come from a different way, and that's how they are. But it works great with creativity. There's many famous personalities and who are renowned singers, who are big musicians, who are absolutely unconventional. They had no talent, but they were huge, right? They were huge, humongous frequencies, right? So that is how number 4 comes. And if you're a number 4, I said best would be to look for a partner who's a number 1. You'll be very happy.
Okay. And who should they stay away from?
8, number 8.
Number 8. Okay. So you can't double up all the time, because it seems like when you said 3, 6, 9, you can go into triplets, but you can't double up when it comes to 4s.
No. 4, stay away from number 8 all the time.
Okay. Moving on to number 5.
Oh, no, number 5 is Mercury. Mercury is fast moving. Its communication is it's more so left is logic, so it's more left logic, that kind of energy, right? And it's more neutral kind of a frequency. Number 5 is 5, 5, 14, 23, 32, and this frequency has been seen. I've seen many famous sports players having numbers 23, 32, and things like that, because it's kind of fast moving, needs agility. The one shade that I want to mention is the number 14. 1s and 4s coming together. It's very powerful. It's a good money number for all those who are listening, right? But it'll only last for like maybe 4 years. So you can use that energy when it comes to you. Say, for example, you enter into apartment number 104, 401, things like that, right? It's like a wheel of fortune. It's a climbing wheel, right? When you enter a place like that, it'll definitely improve your financial situation for about 4 years. But then make sure you're out of that place in that time, because if you overstay, then it'll all fall down too. And I see it all the time.
Oh, very interesting.
All right, Jesse G, we're going to pick up from the number 6. Please go right on ahead.
Okay, so number 6 is the energy of planet Venus, right? And this energy, of course, we all need Venus because Venus, pays our bills, right? And Venus gives us, all the love and everything else that we are looking for on this earth. But Venus is it's a tricky number sometimes. You don't need an overdose of number 6, right? Because that can be very tricky too. 6, 15, 24, and onwards. 33, which I really like as a master number, and then 42 and onwards, right? These number 6 is very heavily promoted by numerologists around the world, right? Which in a way it is true too. It is very powerful. So now what happens is with number 6, right? The energy of number 6 flows well, of course, with 3, 6s, and 9s. So that combination flows quite well. 6 also works with number 8. Venus energy. Venus is kind of happy with number 8, but what I have seen is that the number 6 and the number 1 for some reason kind of is a very heavy combination. So I'll give you one example. So 1600 is the address of the White House, right? So when 1s and 6s come together, they create that miscommunication, they create that trickery, that deception, right? Mm-hmm. And then even on date of birth, that 16 kind of becomes very tricky. I've seen homes, right, where suddenly, the occupant, someone fell seriously sick and they're wondering what happened to this person, right? Or there's a place of, someone suddenly crosses over, right? So I'll say that 16 is one number that you should be very cautious of, very cautious of. And then other shades of number 6 is 24. People say that 2 and 4 is a 6. Well, it is. But why? Because Moon and Uranus, right? They kind of combine very well together. But does it work for everybody? No, it's not like one shoe fit all. So it's not like everybody should start using the number 6. Without realizing what your basic numbers are, because 6 will not work for everybody. But otherwise, it's happy, it's positive, it's strong, and it's strong. In the business of film and media, right? 6 is promoted very heavily because Venus rules this work, and many of these media outlets and film projects and TV series and all, they all like to end up having that number 6 on their titles as well. So Venus, and then diamonds. People with strong with strong 6s, you do use diamonds, and they use opals for some reason, and those kinds of white sapphires kind of work quite well with this energy.
Okay, and who should 6 stay away from? You mentioned 16, and then is there any other whole number?
Yeah, number 1. So the number 1s and 6s not very happy together. Even number 2 and number 6. Many say that Moon and Venus together, but when it comes to number 26, right, it's not the best combination. And then another one is 4 and 6. 4 and 6s are very, very important. See, now if you see, right, the country of China, right? China, if you add up the numbers of China, the energy, it adds up to a number 15 and some kind of 6. Even India now, it's become Bharat now. Bharat is also the same energy like China, is 15. Or if you look at Canada again is 15, right? So these energies have kind of stepped in. But what happens is 4s and 6s is kind of quite devastating. So if you remember what happened in 2020, right? What happened? China generated that virus, right? Came from Wuhan, right? It was 2020. So 4 and 6s. So 6, and whenever it is a 4 year with all these 6 countries, something is going to happen. Or if it is 6 year, then go back to 4 countries. So that's how it goes. So 4 and 6s, you'll be very, very cautious. 4 and 6s is very, very explosive. So if you are born or any 4 date of birth, please be careful. Don't enter, or if someone tells you 24 is a lucky number for you, do not get into that property.
All right. So 4s and 6s, got to be careful. Moving on to number 7. Please tell us about them.
Yeah, 7's Neptune. Neptune is water, and water in a swimming pool of water. All the oceans of the earth is all Neptune energy. Neptune's water, very psychic, very intuitive. 7 is kind of also works great with big businesses. Big businesses have the energy of number 7, and 7 I've seen is excellent for food businesses. If you have a big food business, if you have a huge place that you generate a lot of wine or things like that, right? Beverages, food is number 7. 7 is also music, it's the mystery, If you remember, the late Jagjit Singh, he would always sit down he had a group of 7 people all the time, he had the 7, and he knew the metaphysics really well, the 7 energy and that is how 7 comes, it's like the color of the rainbow, right? Those, or the 7 chakras, right? So that is how it is. It's very strong, very mystical. 7, like I said earlier, 2s and 7s, excellent combination. It also works with number 1. 7 and 8 and 9. So 7 is not happy with number 8 or number 9. And 5 is kind of neutral. 4 will work with number 7, by the way. 4s and 7s kind of get along. And otherwise, overall, a very strong vibe, right? And it again depends what month of what month of the year you're born with the number 7, right? So that has to be considered as well.
Okay, so it's like how you were mentioning before, like the date of birth is more significant than the total life path number.
Yes, yes.
So for example, myself, it's interesting you're saying this, like my date of birth is the 3rd, excuse me, but my life path number, when I add my month, date, and year, comes out to a 7. So it's interesting you mentioned that 7 is also attuned to music, because I have a musical background. So it's very interesting how maybe there is a primary and then there's a secondary aspect. So like you would say the primary number is your date of birth, and the secondary aspect, it still gives some attributes.
Yeah, I love that. That's very well said. Yeah, so that is how it works. But then at the same time, right? So you have that energy of number 7, right? So now quickly going back to what you just mentioned. So 7 is water, right? So water, and then the time you're born is Capricorn, it's earthy energy. So water and earth, water and earth are kind of happy together. But at the same time, with your number 3, I would not use too much 7, and I wouldn't, in your case, I wouldn't move to a house number which is number 7. You see?
That means the sum total, or it should have the digit in it. Which one is more significant?
I know you can have a digit in there, but I mean, say
the sum total of the address.
Yeah. You can have some, but the sum total, no, yeah. So avoid that on a home number. I as far as you're concerned, I'd be happy. You could use a lot of Venus very happily. A number 6 would be fantastic for you. Yeah. 6 is very beneficial. Yeah.
I love that, because it's important for our listeners to understand how numbers affect not just your date of birth, but your total life path number, but your businesses, your address, your partnerships, in personal and professional partnerships that go on. So what should number 7s be kind of wary of? Who are they not compatible with in business or personal relationships?
7, I can say, stay away from number 8s, or number 9s. I've seen that, 7 again is... So number 3s and 7s, they kind of sometimes get pulled together, but the number 3 does not understand the third eye of number 7. You know how it is? It's like you get manipulated. The number 3 will be and the 7 is going to come and play a trick on you, right? So
all right, so stay away from 3s then. Moving on to number 8 as we get closer to the end of the numbers. Number 8.
Number 8 is kind of it's very, very intense, very powerful, right? Number 8 is pure Saturn energy, and it's Saturn, is slow and it's deliberate. It takes its own time, and most people who have that energy on number 8 are also drawn to a lot of number 4s, which I should say that you should be very cautious of, and they also pull number 8s as well. I think they'll be happy more with Sun. This number 1 comes in with 8s, or on Jupiter. Number 3 is very happy with Saturn, or number 5 Mercury is the happiest, and then Venus, right? So I say if you have a lot of Saturn energy, you stay with more Sun, Jupiter. So 1, 3s, Venus 6, and then Mercury 5 energies. Saturn is typically, it's a huge life path. They struggle in their earlier years. They just, as they're struggling, they have to really work for the dollar initially for many, many years. But they at some point they do break out, right? But then their projects are huge. They get into these deals or these projects which are humongous and huge, right? And big money comes to them. But then at the same time, they always are like missing something. They miss their childhood, or they're very attached to their families. They're very attached to their as the father and mother kind of energy is very strong, right? They're very giving, they'll help their relatives, for some reason. When your relative call and say, "Oh, I need please pay my bills this month," they'll do it. I've known number eights like that. They'll go pay, they'll pay a 1-year mortgage for an extended relative. I've known people like that, and they'll cry and they'll cry and complain, but they'll still do it. So that's how their hearts are, right? Yeah, but they're
overly caring.
Yeah. Oh, but they're into very big money. The very, very big money comes in as they kind of evolve in later years. They should be cautious in their relationships, because I've seen a lot of number 8 people, they sometimes they throw caution to the winds and they kind of get careless, which is, and then they carry that pain in all their lives, Sometimes they're very harsh on their spouses too, they don't treat them well. You know how it is? It's like they're never satisfied, in the sense that, I mean, and by that I mean, and more from the financial angle of things, they always feel that they never got the best gift, or something was always less. You know how it is?
It's always grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah. I you just said it exactly. That's the nail on the head. That's the grass is green on the other side. But they do realize at some point that the grass wasn't that green, like we all do. So, yeah.
Well, let's. Who should number 8 be kind of wary of, or what is the compatible or non-compatible?
Number 8, number 4s. Stay away from number 4s.
Right. You mentioned number 4s, right?
And also be cautious of business partnerships. You'll draw partners and all that. Yeah. Be alone. Do work solo. Be happier.
All right, here. So that's your message for number 8s. Work solo, stay away from number 4s. Moving on to number 9s. I think you kind of mentioned the different iterations of 9, whether that is the 9, 18, or 27. So kind of tell us about what number 9 people can expect.
Yeah, so 9's powerful, right? 9's Mars energy, like we all know. But I've seen, like you mentioned, life path earlier. I've seen that whenever 9 came on a life path, right? When you, like you said, add those numbers together, that energy has always been huge, right? 9 is it's intense on a life path that makes you a humanitarian, right? Your reach is global, right? It's because it's Mars energy, right? And it comes in many combinations now. I honestly, I'm kind of ruled by Mars, and I like the number 9 in many ways. And I remember living in a house number 6300, my first property many years ago, and then I still live in a 27, which is the number of the rifle that I fired as a cadet, right?
Right, number 9.
Which never left me all my life, So, and I was a marksman, so I said my life's going to be like that all my life, right? So, so 27, 36, 45, it all depends on, see, 45 is interesting. 4 and 5 is Uranus, Mercury. So, if you have a music company, right, and you have the number 45, is really good. Or a 54, it's Mercury and Uranus kind of energy, and see, 18 is very heavy on a date of birth, right? It'll bring in things like cuts, injuries, accidents, and a whole bunch of stuff. Promotes, if you are for the government or a doctor or a surgeon or whatever, right? It'll be good, but you're always prone to cuts, injuries, and accidents. But then it's a very aggressive form of number 9. But if you look Virat Kohli, see, Virat Kohli plays the ace Indian batsman, right? The whole world knows Virat Kohli. And if you look at his jersey number, it's the number 18, right? And you see that aggression. You see how he bats. See that 18 behind the jersey number is absolutely. So that is how the power of 18 is. I mean, that number 9 is, right? And then 9 by itself, solo 27. I like the number 36 a lot. When 3s and 6 come together, right? That's Jupiter and Venus energy is absolutely fantastic. It's like gives you success, success to any enterprise is that energy of 63 or 36. Number 9s should be careful of number 5, Mercury. Okay. Mercury is very, fluctuate, kind of goes up and down quickly, but 9 is Mars, or Mars stays and keeps looking, right? So if you're a 5, and or if you live in a house number 59, or if your spouse or one of the, in a relationship, one is a 5 or a 9, you should be very careful. It becomes a very explosive combination. Watch out. Or if these young boys and girls, looking for relationships and dating or whatever. If you're a 9, watch out if you have your partner is a 5, right? They'll talk really well, but they'll explode later. So
all right. So who are 9s compatible with? They should stay away from 5s, but who should they be looking for?
4s too. 4s, 5s, I'd say stay away from them.
Okay, stay away from 4 and 5. Okay.
But I said 3s and 6s work well. threes and sixes, even number one, sometimes when it comes with number nine, it's kind of because both are very hot planets, right? They'll kind of gel well together. And but be cautious, when number nine comes on your home address, right? You should be a little cautious because Mars is Mars, right? Sometimes Mars, kind of sneak in that energy of health issues, things like that. So you have to kind of be cautious with that. I have seen over the years, I've had, when I was actively selling real estate and property and all, I used to spot number nine. Sometimes I feel a little off. What we used to do is, we used to kind of take one screw out and drop this nine to a six. We should drop it like that. And then we used to flip it, right? So,
Right.
see, that is right. Nine can turn to a six very quickly, right? So,
Right.
so I thought that was a great way of shifting the nine energy on homes, right? I've done it for many, many years. But nine, intense, strong, powerful. It loves red cars and the color red, and that's why I wear this color turn, because I nine is my number, right? All About Numbers, my book adds up to a number 54.
Okay. So your numbers are 3 and 9, basically.
Yeah, threes and nines, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Threes and nines, yeah. Threes and nines.
All right. Thank you, Jesse G, for sharing snippets about each numbers for our listeners. And I'm sure this is all mentioned in great detail in the 2 books that you have written. And what can readers expect from those books and the different iterations and languages that it has come out? And where can they buy your book?
Okay, so the first thing I'd like to say is that, see, these books are not how-to books, so don't buy them thinking that you'll know everything. With whatever little I know over the years, right? So there's a lot of information there. You learn a lot of them, learn a lot from these books, right? And I'm sure you'll find them very interesting. But please don't think that they are how-to books. So that's very important to understand that. And then and there's a lot of and all the information that is true. I've lived my life using numbers, and all those examples that I've given there is how I experience numbers, right? All those clients and the peoples and the examples are all firsthand, right? I've experienced them myself, and then I've given my angle of numerology too, and well, some people find it interesting, and different perspectives of numbers. You can buy my books on Amazon, or you can buy them through my website, which is jessekalsi.com, JESSEKALSI.com.
Amazing. All right. So what can fans expect from you next? Is there another book coming up in the works, or what exciting updates do you have to share with us?
Yes, I'm working on another book, and it's about it's about sports and numbers and all that, so
very interesting.
Yeah, so I want to talk more about those numbers, and yes.
All right, is it just sports or any type of career, or is it just sports related?
Well, it's more sports related. We have so many categories in sports, right? And how these numbers impact those players, and it's all for those young people, right? Because I have many parents who call me, they ask me what jersey numbers for the kids going to play baseball or basketball, right? So
wow. Okay.
So all that, and the rest of it, how these numbers interact and improve your abilities as a sportsman.
I love it. We can't wait to read that book and dive into all of the knowledge that you have to share. And thank you so much, Jesse G, for sharing your knowledge and your life experience and your story with us today for Rukus Avenue Radio. And can you please share where your fans can find you on social media? You did mention your website and that they can buy your books on Amazon, but where can they find you online on social media?
Yeah, I'm actually more actively using my Instagram account, which is I am Jesse Kalsi. So you can find me at I am Jesse Kalsi, and all my postings are kind of there lately. So you'll find me there.
All right. Thank you so much, Jesse G, once again for joining us and sharing your story and your knowledge with us. And we look forward to your upcoming book, as well as the success that you have had on your last 2 books. And I have been a reader of your second book, and I will continue to share all of the knowledge that I have gained from yourself. And I wish you all the best for your future endeavors as we continue to stay in touch, and applaud you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
All right, Rukus Avenue Radio listeners, this is your correspondent, Dr. Priyadarshini G, signing off with the world famous and renowned numerologist and author, Jesse Kalsi. Until next time.
Rukus Avenue